I'm going to do a terrific show today.
I'm going to do a terrific show today.
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee, and today we're giving the Once Over to Stuart Saves His Family.
It is easier to put on slippers than to carpet the entire world.
Buckle up.
Give it a good once-over.
Giving us the once-over.
Giving him the once-over.
Give me a once-over.
Tommy, give us the once-over.
For a routine once-over.
Once-over.
Oh, just once over lightly.
All right. I heard you guys barking. You guys think that Stuart Saves His Family is the absolute worst SNL skit turned into a movie. Am I right? I'm reviewing Stuart Saves His Family as a part of my continuing SNL skits turned into movies series, and you can check out other videos in that series linked below in a playlist if you would like to do that. I've already talked about Coneheads, It's Pat, Superstar, Night at the Roxbury, Blues Brothers 2000, and now we're moving on to Stuart. Before we get into the actual movie itself, I just want to start out by saying that I am pretty sure that Stuart Saves His Family is the only comedy film ever that does not rely on jokes. Not a great start. And that probably gives you a pretty good idea of what we're going to be getting into. Stuart Saves His Family is a 1995 comedy film directed by Harold Ramis and based on the sketches from Saturday Night Live, which originated in the early 1990s. I just want to do like a little brief aside on Harold Ramis for a moment here. Seriously, what is up with him? Just talking about his directorial career, he is either like over the top good or over the top horrible. He directed Vacation, Caddyshack, Groundhog Day, Multiplicity, Analyze This and That, Bedazzled, and of course, Stuart Saves His Family. What a list. Also, please don't hate me, but I would probably put both Groundhog Day and Caddyshack in the bad movies that Ramis directed category. I'm sorry. In order to talk about Stuart saving his family, we need to learn about Stuart Smalley himself. He was the creation of comedian turned Senator Al Franken, and he is a would-be self-help guru with a public access style show called Daily Affirmations with Stuart Smalley.
To show how the daily affirmation works, I've invited someone who has even less self-esteem than I do.
He is completely obsessed with 12-step programs.
If this is what they teach you in those 12-step or 13-step or 14 or whatever.
It's 12 steps.
But he is not a licensed therapist. Very important. He is bubbly and over the top, and Franken's naturally upturned little dimples in the corner of his mouth make him the perfect caricature for a self-help wacko who has the enthusiasm of a puppy.
When it comes to partying, no one gets down like people in recovery.
Stuart is semi-biographical for Franken as he based the character on going to Al-Anon meetings in his real life. So the film is going to follow the adventures of Stuart Smalley as he attempts to save both his troubled family and his low-rated public access television show. And I'm gonna just go ahead and pause right there because I would really like someone to please tell me what is he saving his family from? It's not like dinosaurs are attacking them and that's the plot of this movie. Let's just keep that question in mind as we dive into the film. The movie opens up with a vintage family photo montage playing along to a song that's like, ha 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 happy. That was my attempt at singing, please don't judge me, but it's fine. And Stuart does his daily affirmation show. He has many problems, including what he defines as perfectionism, but I would call it more along the lines of being a control freak.
And as we say, progress, not perfection.
Today's daily affirmations is a little bit different because he is wearing a sweater knit by a fan who is a recovering sex addict.
She said it gave her something to do with her hand.
He announces in not the most professional way that his show's time slot is going to change from noon to 2:45 a.m., which is pretty much death for broadcasters, at least in the 1990s. Oh, your radio show is going to move from drive time to 3 a.m.? You're fucked. Anyways, Stuart loses it on the air and says that Roz, who is like a higher up at the public access channel, is a fat cow. Yeah, not the most professional thing that anybody could ever do. Come on, Stuart, use your own affirmations.
I am entitled to my share of happiness.
Well, he says it a little bit nicer than that.
Overeaters Anonymous, which is where the person who made this decision belongs.
Kinda.
Because she is a grandiose, shame-based overeater, sick in her own disease and weighs over 200 pounds and has a hideous haircut.
Stuart realizes the error of his ways and chastises himself for being unprofessional. He dines with Julia, who is played by Laura San Giacomo. Fuck that name. Laura San Giacomo, and they discuss the situation, and we get to hear Julia using one of the infamous Stuartisms that, began on SNL.
That is just stinking thinking.
I didn't even really mention the catchphrases that Stuart does, did I?
Progress, not perfection. Trace it, face it, and erase it. I am a worthy human being. You listen to me, I'm shooting all over myself.
And of course,
because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Julia, we later find out, is his Al-Anon sponsor, but it kind of looks like they're on a date. And the big reveal during this scene is that Stuart isn't actually dining with her, but rather he is a waiter at the restaurant who is slacking off at his job.
No. Gotta go.
Ahem.
It's a pretty successful reveal, and I have absolutely seen other waiters doing this thing. They do it. It's very real. I've probably done it in my many years in the service industry. Julia convinces him to go talk to Roz about his outburst, and this is where I kind of start getting lost. There are a couple of scenes in this movie that don't make any sense. I can't entirely figure out if it's because a joke didn't land or if it's because dialogue got cut in post-production. So let's set the scene. Stuart goes to the public access channel and sits in the waiting room with the secretary because Roz is like, I'm busy. And the secretary, Lori, is like, I love your show. And then she starts crying because she's obviously in some sort of emotional turmoil. I'm going to play the clip right here, unedited.
I loved your show.
Really?
I find it very comforting.
It's okay. It's okay, Lori. Let it hurt. Feel the pain.
I don't know what to do.
Well, there is a support group for people who live with compulsive gamblers, and I think they could help a lot more than me.
What? I think that this is supposed to be a joke? Like, the thing that she revealed is that she's actually a gambler, and then Stuart is obsessed with 12-step programs, and so, yeah. But tell me that it doesn't seem like dialogue is missing there. The timing is all sorts of off. And moreover, did you notice that there's like no background music, no noise, no office sounds, nothing? I think that a lot of what this film struggles with is the fact that it didn't have the right post-production treatment to be able to make any of the jokes actually land. Roz does not end up accepting the apology. She basically says, you suck and everybody else thinks so too. Which leads Stuart to start freaking out. One of my favorite moments. Now, you might be saying to yourself at this point, when the hell is he going to get to saving his family?
When are they going to get to the fireworks factory?
All we've heard about so far is him saving his own show. You're right to ask that very logical question. But let's go back to that same question that I posed in the beginning, which is, what does his family need to be saved from? Is there like a rogue army of garden gnomes? Are there marauders armed with pool noodles? It's got to be something wacky since this is a comedy film. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's alcoholism.
You see, officer, this is really about alcoholism, which is really a family disease.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Now, I know lots of movies, I'm looking at you, Freddy's Revenge, and also you, Porky's Revenge, have a word in their title like Stuart saves his family when the plot has nothing to do with saving the family, nothing to do with revenge, Freddy's Revenge, and also Porky's Revenge.
Revenge!
But for some reason, it really, really bugs me in this movie. Also, I'll always give a pass to anything related to Freddy's Revenge. Porky's Revenge, too. That turned out to be really good. Holy shit, I just realized something. This movie isn't about saving his family. We can all agree on that. It's just about saving daily affirmations. So, all of the SNL movies, is this right? Holy crap. Pretty much all of the SNL movies are just about trying to save a show. Think about it. Stuart saves daily affirmations. Garth and Wayne save Wayne's World. Ladies' Man is Leon trying to save his radio show. Blues Brothers also kind of fits into the mold. It's like the boys trying to get the band back together. They're trying to save the band. Oh my God, it's Pat even sort of does too, because there's that whole plot line where he's trying to get I don't... Oh, why are we thinking about Pat again? Whatever. They are trying to get recognized for their karaoke performance. That's also kind of saving relating to a show. All right, maybe not. It doesn't matter. I'm still kind of right. There's a whole bunch of SNL movies that are all about saving a show. I think that that's nuts. Holy crap. What are the implications? Does this mean that SNL was worried about saving SNL? Are these SNL skits turned into movies intended to save SNL? Did I just crack the freaking code? Back to the movie. Stuart has to go home to his family because his Aunt Paula died. Hey, family members. This is where we get introduced to Stuart's pot-smoking brother, who is played by a young Vincent D'Onofrio. Well, he's not younger than he was in Full Metal Jacket, but he looks young to me whenever he doesn't look like he's in Men in Black, because that's always what I associate him with. That's a Kaylee thing, really. But he still looks young. He aged not so great. That said, Donnie is supposed to be a mega pothead, and he has got to be the least pothead-esque pothead that has ever existed in cinema history.
Believe me, the minute I find work, I am history.
He's not acting like a pothead. That's not how potheads behave. Watch Half-Baked and do better. We also meet his sister, Jody, who is like kind of over anxious, but we never really dive into any of that. And his parents, including Dad, who is a major dickbag.
Waste of space.
Hi, Dad.
And Mom, who is obsessed with making food in order to cope with whatever repressed bullshit she has kicking around in her head.
Oh, well, as a rule, it's better to have too much than too little.
So yeah, again, here we go. We're getting into the family stuff, and Stuart is gonna come home, and he's gonna come to the rescue. Before he can do any of that, Cousin Ray shows up.
Dad's hated Cousin Ray ever since Ray accidentally poisoned our dog.
Cousin Ray is played by Joe Flaherty, who I gosh darn love. I think that his performance as the priest in Detroit Rock City is just mwah. I love him so very much. He is hilarious. And very underutilized in Stuart Saves His Family. There is some serious beef between Ray and the Smalley clan. Now the whole gang has to decide where to bury Aunt Paula, and Ray says she can absolutely not be buried in the family plot. There are supposed to be 2 available plots left, and one of them is supposed to be for Paula, and one of them is supposed to be for Ray's mom, but apparently Ray filled the other grave with some unknown body, so he doesn't want Paula to be there so that eventually his mom can be there. I'm just realizing right now, I don't think that we ever actually find out who is in that other grave.
Well, that's for me to know and you to find out.
Do we find that out and I just missed it? Regardless, the cops show up at the funeral, and they have a court order that says that Paula cannot be buried there, so Ray wins. Also, one of the cops is Mike Haggerty. I friggin' love him too. He was really, really great. Do you guys remember the sitcom Lucky Louie with Louis C.K.? Before he did regular Louie. This was like much longer ago. I want to say late 90s? I don't remember what year that sitcom was from. That show was amazing. Paula ends up getting buried elsewhere, and all of this sounds kind of funny, right? Yeah, it really wasn't. It was just kind of sad and a little bit too real because real families have these sorts of fights. And in addition to that, Stuart doesn't save anything here. Paula ends up having to get buried elsewhere. In fact, he doesn't even get into the whole big family kerfuffle while they're all having a fight about where Paula is gonna get buried. And he just stands around like a wuss. He's a wuss. Still dejected about his show, Stuart goes home, and 4 of his sponsors from 4 of his different 12-step programs end up reading inspiring letters to him.
I'm Fred, Stuart's Debtors Anonymous sponsor.
Hello.
And this is...
Jerry?
Jerry, Stuart's Adult Children of Alcoholics
Hi.
sponsor. Hi, Jerry.
It is extremely wholesome. They all have milk and cookies. It's very cute. Again, not comedy, but quite cute. And then more family drama strikes. Finally, it's Stuart's chance.
Stuart, we all want to go home and save our families.
No, we definitely do not want to do that. I have never wanted to save my family. Let them burn. This family drama is all related to the inheritance from Aunt Paula. That makes sense. Families often fight about estates after somebody has died. Basically, her house has become a sticking point, so they need to sell the house in order for everybody to get an equal share of that property value so that they can split up the inheritance. But of course, nothing is that easy. They need to get an easement from their neighbor so that they can have a clean title in order to sell the house. Unfortunately, their neighbor is one of these get off my lawn kind of guys.
I told you kids to keep the ball out of my yard.
And he had problems with all of the Smalley kids when they were younger. They lost their football in his yard, the stereotypical, I'm keeping this ball. Bleh. There's actually a pretty nice flashback scene here. Dad goes in to rescue the ball and stand up for the kiddos.
Maybe you'd like to pick on someone with pubic hair.
It's one of the few laughs that I actually got out of this movie. So to settle the estate, Stuart goes to negotiate the cost of the easement with the neighbor, and he does an awful job. The neighbor ends up raising the price from $3,000 to $10,000 because Stuart is so bad at negotiating. What I learned from this scene is that Stuart sucks at saving his family. Stuart, if I was your family member, please do not save me. I'm fine. During this mess of a fight, Donnie gets pissed off at Stuart and ends up sharing Stuart's journal with all of the other family members, so they find out that he thinks pretty lowly of them.
I've taken the liberty of underlining some of the more fascinating entries.
I am disgusted with each and every member of my family.
So now everyone hates Stuart, and he ends up declaring emotional independence from his family.
Today I declare emotional independence from my family. Woo!
Good choice, bud. Maybe the way that he saves them is by letting them go. There's also a very emotional scene here where Stuart asks Julia, his sponsor, to denounce her family as well, and she tells a story about meeting her estranged father who ends up hitting on her, and so now she can't trust men. It's not a funny reveal. It is heavy and sad. I'm smiling as I say that. That's in error.
He was very nice, very charming. And as we were leaving, in the parking lot, he made a pass.
It's not a funny reveal. It's just heavy and sad. And why does this comedy not rely on jokes and instead make me feel bad about alcoholism and shitty parents?
This is classic Smalley family bullshit.
Not only that, but Stuart's reaction to her being like, I don't have a dad figure, is, I'll be your dad.
So from now on, when you need one, I'll be your dad.
Is that supposed to be heartwarming or repulsive? Because it's definitely not funny, and if it was supposed to be, the joke did not land. I am very uncomfortable. Something I do kind of like about this movie is the two of them, Stuart and Julia, they never really have a love story, but if he really is her father, or trying to be her daddy, whatever the fuck is happening here, they do have a very brief kiss at the end, and that's even ickier. No. Let's get back on track here. We still have the two issues. Stuart's show is off the air, and also his family is dealing with the whole estate argument thing. To solve the issue of his show, Julia suggests that he send a tape of his show to a different network, the Health Cable Network, since Roz fired him from public access. But he doesn't have any of the tapes of his old show, so he needs to go back to the public access channel in order to get a tape. There, he meets a new receptionist whose main character trait is apologizing.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. I'm sorry. Sorry.
He ends up stealing the tape and running through the streets of Chicago in order to submit it for a chance to be on this new network. When Roz discovers this, she fires the receptionist, Mrs. I'm Sorry, and threatens to sue, but Stuart finally stands up for himself and calls her a vagina.
Vagina!
It's not bad. Better than calling her a fat cow, I suppose.
Are a horrible, nasty, dysfunctional weenie.
Luckily, the new network loves the show, and Daily Affirmations is going to be back on the air, baby!
You know, I like this already.
Oh my gosh, there is so much of this movie left. All right, we can do it. We can do it. Let's give ourselves a breather, because the whole goal of me reviewing a movie is to eventually give it a rating out of 7 thumbs up, right? That's what I like to do on my channel. I like to rate things out of 7 thumbs up. So let's talk a little bit about how other people felt about this movie. This movie is currently considered to be one of the worst movies that has ever existed, especially within the SNL verse. In addition to that, just as a comedy film, it's considered to be absolutely awful. It received a nomination for the most painfully unfunny comedy at the 1995 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, but it ended up losing out to Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, which is just blatantly wrong. That movie is hilarious. I don't understand how that could have possibly won, but apparently it did. On the other hand, Siskel and Ebert actually each gave this film 1 thumbs up. They gave it a thumbs up rating. Siskel called it smart and hip, and Ebert said that it has more courage than a lot of serious films. I kind of don't disagree with them on that. I mean, it's not a comedy, but I don't know that I would call it hip either. Stuart is definitely not hip.
Take a big cleansing breath.
Okay, maybe they're idiots. Either way, back to the plot. Stuart ends up filming his new episodes and has the receptionist from Roz's office, who, might I add, has less self-confidence than him, as a guest on the show. At one point, he tells her to take off her glasses.
Let's take those glasses off.
And then he's like, let's put them back on.
Oh, good. Okay, let's put the glasses back on.
It's the classic, girls without glasses are magically more beautiful. But I realized that Arrested Development totally stole this gag. Do you guys remember this being on Arrested Development?
Wait a second, wait. Take off your glasses.
We needed Stuart to walk so that Arrested Development could run. Thanks, Stuart. You really saved the Bluths? Maybe? Daily Affirmations is a success, so that's great. End of movie, right? Nope, we gotta close out the whole saving his family thing. It turns out that now his family wants him to lie to the court in order to get the easement issue resolved, but Stuart is all,
I'm smart enough, and doggone it.
Whatever. He's a goody two-shoes, and he doesn't want to lie. And the family stuff, again, it goes kind of off the rails. It's blah. Shit goes real bad when Dad accidentally shoots Donnie during a hunting accident because he's drunk. Again, this could be funny as all get out, but there aren't any, cues to make me think, okay, I should laugh at this now.
Anyway, when Donnie finally came back with the case of beer, Dad heard him stumbling around in the woods, thought Donnie was the deer, and shot him.
It's very quiet and, again, not funny. It's not funny. Wait, did they also do that on Arrested Development? I've cracked the SNL movie code. I've figured out where Arrested Development gets all of their ideas. This has been a very revealing episode. Stuart again goes to the rescue after the hunting accident, but again, the family is also mad at him since he said all that crappy stuff about them. So Donnie ends up realizing on his own, without Stuart's help, that the problem is alcoholism and that he needs to sober himself up. Stuart did nothing for this realization. It was entirely related to the hunting accident. So Donnie suggests that they do an intervention for Dad. Donnie suggests Stuart is useless. Donnie saves his family. That's the new movie title. And you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, here's where we get to the comedy. Interventions can be very funny. No. Jody laments her dad's non-existence at important events. Stuart says his dad never noticed him. And Donnie admits to his own problems while trying to get his dad to understand his personal battles. Again, we're in the tragedy camp here, not the comedy camp. I think that if this movie wasn't marketed as SNL based, if it wasn't supposed to be funny, it probably would have been a lot more successful because it's almost a dark comedy in some ways. Well, without the comedy, so I guess it's just a dark. It's a dark. With all of the family strife, Stuart decides not to go home for Christmas, and he tells the story of his family on his show. Again, he's saving his show, not his family. He's kind of exploiting his family, actually, a little bit, now that I think about it. Was the point that he saved them by abandoning them? Can someone please explain this damn movie to me? Wait. Here's another theory. The idea that he's saving his friends, not his family. Am I supposed to follow the concept of we make our own family, blah, blah, blah. But he also doesn't really save his friends either. And in addition to that, does he actually have any friends? He mostly just has AA sponsors.
Get a sponsor.
Dude, Stuart is a sad character. And that's the end of the movie. Everybody is saved. There's not a lot of resolution. And I kind of like that. I like movies that don't have a ton of resolution. I will tell you, though, that the failure of this movie sent Al Franken, the creator of the character Stuart Smalley, into his very own downward spiral of depression. So I guess that Franken couldn't save Stuart Smalley, which is also depressing. Well, I guess I'm happy that we cracked the code of SNL films, and everyone is trying to save something. Mostly their shows. Save SNL! SNL 50 saved SNL, right? Debatable? Probably not even. All right, into the ratings. Jesus. I know that you are going to think that I'm crazy, but I really didn't hate this. It was heartwarming and kind of thoughtful, even though it didn't make sense at times, and it was definitely not funny. That being said, I think as an exploration of family strife, this movie is really interesting, and it's up there with things like Eulogy, except again, Eulogy is funny. I don't know, all these movies where like you're dealing with your family, that's what this is. This is a family drama, not a comedy. If you go into it thinking about that, then you're more likely to like it. Not that you have to. You don't have to like it. But again, I kind of did, and I think I would give this like a 3.5 or 4 out of 7 thumbs up, which is bonkers because I thought I was gonna really hate this one. Al Franken, I might be your only supporter. Is he still a senator? He's not anymore, is he? I am just realizing right now, why did they make Stuart Smalley into a movie? He is a horrible character to be a movie. He's sad and depressing and weird and a self-help guru. That's like not funny in general. This was a bad choice. This was they didn't do a great job of making choices when they decided to make this movie. But again, I kind of liked it. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about this one. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me of all the things that were awful about it and why comedy movies are supposed to be funny, darn it. I can still like it. Anyways, I really appreciate you hanging out with me, talking all about SNL skits turned into movies. Please, if you have not already, I would love it if you would subscribe, if you would like, do all the things. We're always talking about movies here. It's super duper fun and exciting. Thanks so much. Bye. Laura Sangiamaco. That's not how you say her last name. He dines with Julia, who is played by Laura Sangiacomo. Fuck that name.